Okay, welcome back. You listen to I'm Making It Happen with Exception Years Nykole Tyson. So, I feel like I've lived a brand. I mentioned that all the time. So many things happening this morning, had to deal with. And so yeah, making it happen definitely today and every day. I wish everyone good morning. I see Charmaine on the live and Esther, good morning to you. I hope everybody's having a great Wednesday. Hope to bring some upliftment to you. So, one of the things I wanted to comment on starting off is our VI Pride. I want to recognize, I saw a video and it was actually mentioned to me from somebody in the States that told me, oh, there's somebody that, was cleaning the garbage up on the island independently from a government agency. And I said, well, I said, already send me the video. And when I saw the video, I said, "Oh, I know her, of course, Sana." And so I reached, yeah. So, in the video, basically, if you've seen it, it's been shared countless times and like thousands of times, literally. She was in, I guess, the Mahogany Road and cleaning up garbage, and she mentioned about diapers and just that long stretch of Mahogany Road. Her and her daughter, she and her daughter cleaned up that long stretch. She said still had more, and they had a few big garbage bags. But she, appealed to the community and showed the garbage and expressed her disappointment with the community, and also expressed it's not locals. It's not people that's not residents. It's locals, and I am sure of it. It's not just people that come here, that foreigners or whatever we may call it, that don't reside here, but of the amount of garbage that we have is definitely, and I've seen it myself, locals that are doing that throwing out the trash. So I wanted to commend her for making it happen. I talk about it always on the show, is that we need to have pride and take accountability and responsibility for our space, regardless if we put something there or not. We're just going to keep leaving it and just passing it. So I wanted to touch on that. She also mentioned about VI Pride. I always talking about in her video. I always talk about what VI Pride is. It's one thing to say you have it, but it's another thing to show it. Basically, the word pride itself. Let's look up what pride means in itself, right? So pride. Definition of pride. They use pride for all kind of different things right now, but let's see. Feeling of this deep satisfaction or pleasure that comes from your own achievements, the achievements of someone you're connected to, the qualities or values you believe are worthy of respect, confidence. Let me look at a different definition because I don't like these. Pride definition. I'm not sure why I'm getting a feedback on the mic here. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. While I pull this up, it's saying the same thing. Pride, one's own dignity, being proud, quality, true meaning of pride. They're not giving me any good definitions here. So I'm just going to have to say, feeling that you respect yourself, deserve to be respected. Well, I would say respect, because I'm not seeing anything that I think the definition. Why there's so many different like links for just one word? A feeling of pride. So saying the same thing, sense of pride, feeling of pride. They're using the same word for the definition. I'm saying what I would say the definition. Why is it so hard to find the definition online? Back in the day, just go to encyclopedia, or you just go to the book for the dictionary, and it's one definition. So what I see as pride is having respect and respect for your space, respect for other people, and it shows in like in your actions. And so not leaving it to chance or leaving it to somebody else, but taking responsibility and accountability for whatever, even if you didn't do it, say it, just taking accountability. So we're going to talk about that today. I always talk about it, but there's so many breakdowns in a community that I'm seeing, that I've experienced personally. And it just makes you wonder what is going on. Especially when you're talking about, we have adults that are training up children. See, they have the LGBT as pride. That's the only one that have a definition that comes up, really. Okay, so one of the definitions here: a feeling of pleasure and satisfaction that you get because you or people connected with you have done something good. All right, your feelings of your own worth and respect for yourself. So we show pride and we show how we value ourselves by our surroundings. And I say that all the time. So I just commend Sana. I kind of was rambling because I could not find a real clear definition. But of course, the definition that would have a large paragraph is for, like I said, pride is used for other things now. So but I can't find it for what I really want to speak on. So yes, we need to show VI pride. And it is shown not by wearing a shirt, but by our actions. And I want to commend Sana for doing that with her daughter, and that's teaching her daughter to not wait for somebody to do something, but take action on her own. If she sees something she doesn't like, then go ahead and you take action, and you'll feel good about it, regardless if anybody else is taking action about it. So if more people do that, our island would be the cleanest island in the Caribbean. Like I said, when I traveled throughout the United States with millions of people in Washington State, Colorado State, when I've been there, those states, I mean, it was immaculate. I want to know, how do they keep these things clean? Not one bottle in the ground. It looks like they sweep the streets. Why is it that we have 30,000, 40,000 people on this island and the place looks horrible in many areas, and in people where people live? Even in my area, at times people leave the garbage, and I just have to I just pick it up. It could be across their yard, it could be maybe in their yard, it could be on their side. They still leave it there, and I watch it for days. And if you're listening and you're in my neighborhood, please do better. But yeah, and I the other day I saw something, and I said, this is in their yard, on their grass, for days. There's no way you'd come out your yard and don't see it. It's not on my property, but it was bothering me. And then I mentioned it to somebody who was doing, some cleaning up in my yard, and they went and picked it up. Later on, I looked, it was gone. And I was like, is it just by chance? And I asked them if they did it. And they said, yeah, they had their son pick it up, and that's just in a small neighborhood. If we want to have people respect our island, we have to do it ourselves. We can't expect other people to come here and do what we're not doing. So like I said last week when I ended the show talking about setting an example, I mentioned it specifically for elders at that time, mature ones in the community in regards to how they behave. But the example we set from all of us, right? Because other people are looking at us in regards to what we do. One of the things in regards to that is like running the red lights long after the time has passed. I've seen people that are visiting right now. We have a lot of cars on the on the ground, on the roads. Like early in the morning, I'm up 7 in the morning. I'm up driving to work out, and there's cars. I'm like, why is it so busy? 6:45 in the morning, because it's that time of year, right? Snowbirds are here, so there's more cars here. And I see that they're not just locals running the red lights anymore, but people that don't look like locals, from ethnic wise, running the lights because they followed a car in front of them. And I'm like, look at that. I can't even get mad at them. So, this important. From those that are listening near and far, you can take, if you're in the States or wherever you are, it's not here in the Virgin Islands, but definitely still set the example here. Definitely in a small territory, we need to set the example for our in our behavior. I'm sure many people that are running these red lights, you have children in your car, they're noticing that. They're noticing you breaking the laws. They're noticing you, taking advantage of whatever lack of policing might be around at that time, and they're gonna follow you at some point. Or they might not follow you right now, but they might do something in school because it's like, well, my parent could do it. And it's like subconsciously, they're not even trying to do it. Or I don't think consciously say, well, my parents do that, so I'll do it too. It just seems like, okay, that's okay. Right. And so when you reprimand your child or a child, then it's really hard for them, and they may not be able to put it into words of like, well, you do it. And they probably know that they can't say that, but you do it. Why can't I? So, yes, so I commend any and everyone in the community that takes a stand and goes above and beyond And if we all do that, then our island of St. Croix as well as St. Thomas will all and St. John will would look superb, right? And yeah. So and then what else? I wanted to talk about VI Pride. Right. So how you interact with individuals too. Maybe I should take a break and come back to that. Yeah, 'cause I think that's a longer conversation. So what I want to talk about is that okay, so also in VI Pride, we're talking about the garbage, right? Another thing I talked about what you might be doing on the roads that might have yeah, so people are seeing you, following those that are breaking the laws on the road. And I understand when you get to a light and it's yellow and you're trying to trying to pass that light before it turns red. Sometimes in like a second after you can like pass that light and all the lights are red. But when you're passing that light and it's 5 seconds, 10 seconds past, now you're just blatantly disregard for life and for the law, right? And endangering individuals. And so I see people now taking the time for to not taking oh, hold on. I have a lot of things happening. Yes, remove. Nice. Okay. Hold on one second. I have to text somebody. Insight old. Sorry, real time. Have to deal with some stuff. All right. So so as I was saying that yeah, you're endangering lives. But one of the things also in VI Pride is how we treat each other. And I see that there is another blatant disregard for how we interact with each other as opposed to how we interact with another ethnic group. So it's easy for us to disrespect each other, but we have more consideration. Well, not me, because I deal with everybody the same way. But I find to see that many people, and I think it goes back to, and we're talking about it's now we're in Black history. So I feel that this is appropriate to mention and include, and I want to expand on that and some other things, is that it's easy for individuals of our ethnicity to disrespect our each other, but we don't but we find respect for other people that are disrespectful to us from that may be from other ethnicities. um and then I also I'm going to take a break. I want to get back. I also want to talk about how we refer to ourselves. Let us be the create our own narrative, be leaders and not followers. I find that we are many our followers, and then that seems to that so when the group does the majority of people do something, it seems like it's okay even though it's not. We say that all the time, bad is good now, it seems like good is bad. um and so I just want to talk about let us set the pace and not have the pace set for us, because we have the ability to set the pace for a lot of things. We have a lot of leaders that have come out of the Virgin Islands, um, and made marks throughout the world, not just locally, but nationally, internationally. And we have that within our legacy. And so I feel like we need to remember that, embrace it, and, you know, take it to another level. And so I'll mention that after we come back from the break. All right. So if you're just tuned in, listen to I'm Making It Happen with Exceptional Yours, Nykole Tyson. Have my monologue today in regards to, VI Pride, mentioning and appreciating those in the community that step up and take charge in things they don't see happening, and then bringing it to light, to our community. And hopefully more people will be in action around, reducing the littering around our island, and then also, being better stewards as we drive on the roads. And I'm going to talk about, when we come back, how we interact with each other, right? I don't speak on everything that I see and experience, but if I say it happens to me or I see it, it's happening to a lot of people, and we have to, bring light to it. Now, it's understood that even in the Bible, it says man will go from bad to worse. But for those who want to be good, hopefully you listen and apply it to your life. So we take a break, and we get back. We'll talk more about that, and you know, Don't go anywhere. We're right back after this short break. Welcome back. You're listening to I Make It Happen with receptionist Nykole Tyson. And if you're with me before the break, you'll know that I was speaking about VI Pride. I'm speaking about VI Pride in many various aspects. First was about our surroundings, with the littering. I saw when I was driving one time, no, not one time, many times, people throwing garbage out their cars, like just cleaning out their cars. I've seen people stop right outside my house in an area where they think that it's public property and it's not, and cleaning out their cars, throwing out ocean spray bottles, and I've had to yell out, and they've had to pick it up and put it in their vehicle. So I'm not sure why people feel that it's okay to litter, to throw out your garbage onto roads, and not just find a receptacle. There's many throughout. I've even seen somebody right there in Sunny Isles. The garbage can was right in front of the car, and they proceeded to take the garbage out of their car and throw it on the ground. And I'm watching the garbage right like 2 feet away from the car, a garbage can, and they threw it right there in front of I guess it was called Rainbow. It's called Rainbow's the store. There's a garbage can right there. They threw it right there on the floor on the ground. I couldn't even get my phone fast enough. 'Cause I think I was in shock. And by the time I started to want to record, they had already started to drive off, right? So, and then they have children in the car seeing that. So, doing better, being better, and also pointing it out when we see it happens. When I see somebody, I blow them. If the car stuff is coming out of their car, if I see them throw it on, I have no problems of bringing it to their attention. If they cuss me or not, it doesn't matter. Let's see. Let's turn that on. If you were trying to hold on, I'm trying to take this call. How do you do this? Okay, on air. All right. You're on air. Thanks for calling.
Good morning. How are you doing at this most beautiful morning in the most beautiful place in the world?
Now that I hear your voice, I'm so much better. I've had a long morning already.
I'm calling because I just tuned into your radio station. I just jumped in my vehicle. I'm driving home. And you saying something, you were speaking about something that does hurt me so much.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we litter on this island?
Yeah.
I mean, is it that important that you must get rid of your garbage in your vehicle? You can put it on the side, and then when you get home, you dump it, or you understand me?
Definitely.
All I just want to say, right, that anybody, and I'm going to say this here without any condemnation, I think I used the wrong word.
Yeah, that's fine.
Anyway, I'm saying this here. If you are nasty, if you are nasty in public, imagine how much more nastier you are in private. What do you think about that?
Well, I wonder, because it could be nasty in different ways in their attitude and in their surroundings, because I wonder if people are like that in their homes. Because if they're cleaning out, they think their car is cleaner. It needs to be cleaner than the outside. So I'm not sure, if they're the same at home. But it is a mentality, I do believe. So, and it is something that they're training the children.
It hurts me that we know we live in the most beautiful place in the world.
Right.
But yet still we have space in our mind to dirty, to keep dirtying, to drop I never forget last year, during Christmas time, people, I guess they was able to afford a treadmill.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of they take it to the dump, they rather dump it on the side of the ground.
Oh.
You understand me?
Okay. Well, on top of that, they throw their furniture, their appliances on the side of the road. I see sofas on the side of the road. I don't know what people just think. They just come and next thing you see a sofa. I've seen it in my area. So yeah, It's unfortunate, but
How you think we could fix this problem? How do you think? Because everything starts with education.
so let's think.
Everything
Let's
starts with
brainstorm.
a partnership with the government, establishing places that we could go and dump it. Because I've gone in the past. I've gone in the past to dump garbage to the dumping Concordia, and they told me they're not picking it. They're not picking it up. I cannot drop it there. And you know how I was able to get them to drop it?
How?
I told them, well, I would just go to Sandy Point, drop it on the side of the road.
Right.
You understand? It is so sad that this government does not know. They know how to establish a partnership. And of course, I could understand why they're saying that, you need this kind of trash can and, you got to pay $75. I could understand for that. I could totally understand. But for you to say that we have no other options, and that's a problem right there. We got that gone, okay?
Well, don't go yet, because you asked me a question of how we could fix it, but it can't. I'm not the person only to have this conversation. You and I have this dialogue, so we could kind of brainstorm and maybe others can think about it. One thing I want to comment when you say the government, right? We have to remember the government isn't. It sounds like so esoteric outside of us, right? But it's not. The government is us. The government is us. We have the government employs more people than any other entity. So your neighbor, 9 times out of 10, somebody in your street lives, many people work for the government within where you live, right? Where we live. So it is us. So we talk about the government. It's not just something out there. And then next, we are the solution. And we have opportunities here already. We have free dumping. We've had free dumping. Now they're about to change that because we are not taking advantage that we have free dumping. You can take your items to Anguilla. I know it's more to the Anguilla dump site. I know it takes more time, but it just takes a little bit more planning because I've had to go down to the Anguilla dump site to dump things when I've taken it to the facility here in Peters Rest. And then we have other dumping sites. The only thing I would like to see is probably more dumping sites at after hours that are lit and that are taken care of, because the ones that are not, that are open at night, I don't go to at night because it's dangerous and it's just filled. It's just not up. It's just not healthy for me to drive in there.
All I'm saying is, right? All I'm saying is, we always want to. What's the word? You were talking about it with the government and the garbage. My thing is this year. When it comes to the government, you said it is the biggest employer of the Virgin Islands. Then they should be most educated.
But it's not they. But again, when I say they, the people, it's us. We are the government. Well, when you're speaking, it sounds like it's just something out there. Your friends, your family is the government.
We totally disagree with a lot of things that this government do, but they never agree with us. All we have in the Virgin Island is obedient voters, not educated voters, and you know that.
Okay, listen to this. We got on a whole lot of subject.
After my last statement, what do you have to say about that? Then listen to this.
We have obedient. We have say that again. You said we have obedient voters.
We in the Virgin Island, we have nothing but obedient voters, not educated voters.
Right. Well, I do agree in regards to education because they get the branches of government mixed up. But my thing is this, and who has authority to do what within which branch, right? But my thing is this: when we're talking about the garbage, that's what you called it, right? About the garbage, and we have power to deal with that. Just don't throw your items. Take time and throw your items where they're supposed to go. Keep your items in your car until you can get a plastic bag and discard of it properly. These are things that we have in our control. So a lot of times you get off on a tangent and get off the subject matter. The subject matter is the garbage. What can we do? You ask, how can we quell this issue, right? So
I am anticipating that you telling us, which I totally agree with you, that we have to take some initiative ourselves.
Thank you.
Right or wrong?
Definitely.
I do have, if you were supposed to drive down in my yard, I do have a burn pit. I have a metal barrel that I will burn my paper. You understand me?
Okay.
I totally agree with you. We're supposed to do our part.
Thank you.
But this government wants us to do every part. I will tell you this much, all right?
Mm-hmm.
It is easier to live in a housing community. Remember, housing community. What the government doing is controlling you. A project. Like, remember when you had the science project in school?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what the housing community is, a project. And when you look and see, they telling you living in them, you under your own country. You can't even you got to live under the rules and directives. And then when you look and see, right, you living under the rules and directives, right? And when a hurricane comes, they gonna get it power turn on for before you and I. But you and I taking our time to be conscientious, right? And burning our garbage that we could burn, right? And the government don't care about us. It is about we relying on the government. This is what people don't understand. This is what they learn. I am not a MAGA. If anything, I'm not a MAGA, okay?
You're not a what?
I hate Donald Trump.
Oh, MAGA.
I hate Donald Trump.
Oh, we got on a whole different topic. Okay.
No, I'm just telling you.
Uh-huh.
We need to take care of these islands. We don't St. Croix. We don't the USVI.
Mm-hmm.
Establish your burn pit. Help those people that dispose in our waste. Burn your paperwork. Burn that. All you need is a metal barrel. Burn that. But no, we want the government to do everything for us.
Okay.
And that's what the burn me the most. And that's what I don't realize that we only have obedient voters instead of educated voters. I hope I have not confused your chain of thought.
No, and actually you just brought it home. Right just now you said we want the government to do everything. I do agree with that. And so, excuse me?
I didn't say that I want the government.
No, I said we. You said as people, we want the government to do everything. You just said that.
Yes, yeah, a lot of people want the government.
Exactly. So I said I agree. That's what is happening. That's why we have an issue with this garbage, because we feel like somebody else is always going to do something, and nobody else is going to do it.
Realize that what we're talking about needs to be addressed and educated, so you could tell us what to do. You understand me?
Okay. Well,
that's all I'm asking.
Okay.
I just want to know when the government is going to educate the people about the margin.
Well, again, you just so wait. So, how to deal with what?
Our issues.
Okay, so you just
the governor talking about increasing or something for tax for education. I could agree with that. But come and break it down to us.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back to my topic. I only have a few more minutes left, but I'm gonna comment on what you said and then bring it home before I close. All right. I appreciate the conversation, and I want to but I want you to be mindful when you're saying two things at the same time. One, you're saying that you see people that wants the government to do everything, but then you just said again, the government needs to listen. Let me finish. I listen to you. Hi.
With our share the expenses, for lack of a better word.
Okay.
MOI or MOU, memorandum of understanding, memorandum of agreement.
Okay, so I'm gonna complete my thought process, and you can listen in. But thanks so much for tuning in. Okay. All right. So a lot of things I agree with, and some things I don't agree with what he says. I see we have another call. Let me see a ticket. Oh Lord. I don't think I do this right. Okay, you're on the air. Thanks for calling. Did I do it right? No. Okay. Somebody was calling. You could try to call back again before I close out. 340-719-7435 or 719-7436. So, some of the things I agree with and some things I don't. I do agree with that we many people want somebody else to do something all the time for them, and it's always somebody else's fault. We need to look at what we have control over, and that's where I will always stay and stand in regards to moving forward. Because that's everything else is like, what's the point? Then you don't feel like you have any control in your life. You're on the air. Thanks for calling. Hello.
Oh, yes. Good morning.
Good morning. You're on the air.
Hi there. I am so interested in your program. I tune into it whenever I can, and it's always very informative. And I think this is an especially important topic that you're addressing this morning. And I just wanted to kind of piggyback on the previous caller's mention of education, not just education in civics, understanding what branch of government is responsible for what. But I am talking really mostly about early childhood education. Ms. Nykole, for your lifetime, certainly, we've gotten accustomed to getting our foods packaged from the supermarket. So there is a lessening consciousness of how important it is for us to care for the earth. And this is something that children can be taught. I am not of the opinion that adults can't change, but I am of the opinion that you cannot raise adults.
Right.
And so I think that if we can incorporate into the public school systems from kindergarten up an appropriate curriculum concerning environmental consciousness, the importance of the earth, how all life relies on the health of the earth. We, when I say we, I'm talking about human beings across the planet. We have lost consciousness of that because many of us are more disconnected from the earth than our foremothers and forefathers were. And we cannot control, for the most part, what goes on in individual households. And I'm not one of those people who believes that the school system is responsible for teaching everything. The school system is not responsible for teaching your child manners. The school system is not responsible for teaching your child not to hit or bite or scratch. The school system is not responsible for teaching your child how to wait his or her turn and how to be polite. Those are responsibilities that belong with the home, not with the school. Unfortunately, today, a lot of households aren't meeting those responsibilities. So we can't really control how children are being raised in the home, but we can control what we are going to teach them in school. And environmental consciousness, which includes the damaging effects of littering and why we shouldn't do it on land or in the sea where these plastics are a threat to sea life. That kind of curriculum is right in line with a science curriculum and can be incorporated into the school curriculum from kindergarten on up. And I also wanted to comment on Ms. Nykole on something you said earlier in your program about the way we treat one another. I've been with this island. I was not born here, but I've been with this island for more than 55 years.
Oh, wow.
And I can remember when I first came here, one person would not pass another person, even a stranger, without saying good morning or good afternoon or giving them some kind of greeting. That did not happen. And even today, sometimes you'll see it. And I'm in such a habit now that if I pass anybody, I always say good morning or good afternoon. Sometimes they answer and sometimes they don't.
Mm-hmm.
But our children are being raised with influences that were not part of my upbringing and largely not part of your upbringing at your age. So that the biggest influence in our children's lives is no longer their home or their church. The biggest influences in their lives are the flashing lights and action of television and social media and videos and things like that. So it seems to me that we have less opportunity to influence or impact our children than previous generations had. And I mourn that loss. There's an African proverb that says, don't be the stranger who cries harder at the funeral than the family. But I have embraced St. Croix. I married into St. Croix. I have embraced St. Croix and I have embraced the Virgin Islands culture to the point where it is more a part of me than the place where I was born and lived until I was a young adult. And I do mourn the changes that I have seen in Virgin Islands culture. And I wanted to say, there's another saying, Miss Nykole, that everything that has a front has a back. And the bigger the front, the bigger the back. So pride in certain aspects is a really good thing, but we've also been taught that pride goeth before a fall. So pride is one of those concepts that can be good in some ways and not good in other ways. So I'm wondering if maybe we should be talking more about respect for ourselves, respect for our surroundings, and especially respect for Mother Earth, who is the life giver for us all. Anyway, Miss Nykole, thank you so much for your programming. I don't always get to listen because I have to be online in order to listen, but I really do applaud you for making it happen. You have yourself a great day.
Thank you so much. You too. And thanks for your call. I wanted to mention some of the things. Before you go, you're still there? Oh, she's gone. Okay. So I just like a couple things that she mentioned. I'm glad that she brought me back to what some of the things I was mentioning. I will have to have another conversation next time. So hopefully you will be able to listen in and call in and have the dialogue with me because my time is about to be up. But commenting on the biggest influence, she was saying that we no longer have because the biggest influence really is social media. So we have less opportunity to influence the children. I do agree with the social media being a bigger influence now than when I was in school. I'm glad we didn't have that because a lot of things would have been recorded back then. We don't have that issue, and a lot of comparisons that people look at, a lot of more I guess peer pressure, but it's more social media pressure. But I do think that we have more opportunity to still influence our children by our everyday. I think that would trump, for lack of better words, right? That would override. Actually, that's a better word. That would override the social media when our children see us as a community doing our part, just like how the lady said. So I feel like we do have control, but a lot of parents and our environment gives away that control because they put them in front of their tablet, they put them in front of the TV for YouTube, whatever. I've seen it. It's in the car. They have some video showing online. So it's not that we don't have the opportunity, but we're giving away the opportunity to influence our children. Also, let's see, something else you mentioned about the respect, using using respect versus pride. I think that every word has a connotation and have a good and a bad. It's just how we want to define. But I do like the VI respect and coming up with a slogan for that. And then also she mentioned about again, when the school is not responsible for teaching our children manners, who is? It's us, right? And it's not just in the household, it's all of us. When they see adults out there and doing and acting up, like acting up and out, and cursing people out and yelling at people for no reason other than you trying to make yourself feel better, and make somebody else look bad. But to me, those who are yelling and cussing somebody, it makes you're the one that looks like the bad, like really, like you don't have any social upbringing, because is that the only way that you can communicate how you're feeling, is to try to put somebody else down with profanity and or loud boisterous um behavior. So, those are the things that we have to be mindful that our children are watching. The children are watching, because people want to tell me I don't have any as yet, right? So the children are watching. I was a child. I'm still a child for my parents. All right. I'm still a child to my grandmother, and to my older and more mature family members. We're all children to somebody. And so we're all examples, and we're all um, being an example. We're all watching others as examples or not, and deciding how we're going to move. And then we're also being examples. And so it's which way we want to be. You got to be mindful. I said last week, and I always say it, treat people how you want to be treated. It's simple as that. All right. I don't want to be in a rant, but I wanted to talk about some other things in regards to, how we treat each other. She pointed on that. That is a big one. We treat each other with a lot of disrespect. A lot of disrespect. But other ethnicities, it comes natural. I told my mom one day, maybe we need to I need to have like what is it? A way of a training in regards to like I told her a word in regards to interactions, and she said no, they don't need a training, because they know how to deal with another ethnicity. They know not to speak to somebody, that they know how to give more courtesy in this aspect. And I said, you know what, you're so right. It is ingrained. It's a mental issue. It is a way that we have ingrained in ourselves, that we're able to disrespect each other, but we hold others in higher regard, regardless of their backgrounds. We have no idea where they come from, but you will give more respect to somebody else outside, or that's another ethnicity, than your own. Why is that? That's something to think about. I experienced it, and I've seen it in the stores. I see it in just interacting with people, just how it's easy. You know how to act better, how to be better with certain people. So that's not an issue of not knowing. That's a choice that you're doing. And it's sometimes I want to say, would you say that into somebody else? And it could not just be an ethnicity too. It's also breaking down by women, men, all of that. Having more respect for a man, communicating with a man to man, than a man to woman at times, right? And that there's a whole lot of breakdowns within even all those structures, and having respect. So I could have a whole conversation about that, and trying to understand how and why did these happen. But again, we'll have another conversation. Next week, I should have a guest, and the week after, we'll have a guest. And so my next monologue or dialogue, hopefully, will be in a couple of weeks from now. So hold that thoughts, and I'm always open to conversations. So thanks so much for tuning in to I'm Making It Happen with exceptionally yours, Nykole Tyson. We'll be back again on next week, Wednesday, from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. I thank you for the callers that tuned in. I think there was 2 new callers today, so I appreciate that. 2 new voices I heard today. I appreciate the open conversation, and that you tuned in and you were listening to what I was saying, because sometimes I wonder, like, is it landing? Am I being too harsh? Are people really getting what I'm saying? But I just do my best in trying to impart some things that I think that we can do better in the VI and the surrounding world. So thank you for joining me today on I'm Making It Happen. Again, with exceptionally yours, Nykole Tyson. If nobody has told you today, you can make it happen. Don't just talk about it, be about it. We'll connect again on next week, Wednesday, from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. As I always say, if you don't see something happening, create it. Be the change. And until next time, keep thinking outside the box, coloring outside the lines. And remember, it's about you, me, we. So make it happen.